My name is Effoduh, and I'm your host on the Mcbridge Consult with Conversations with Humans Development World, discussing their journey on how they got into non-for-profits. Over the last few weeks, it's been exciting with the reviews I've got from people watching the clips on the YouTube channel. And today's edition, we'll be having a guest. He's someone I've known for over a decade. He's done so well in the law firm, both locally and globally. Okay, so we're going to go a very short break, and when we come back, we're going to meet him. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back from that short break. And my name remains Effoduh, and today we're having Okechukwu Effoduh. He is an international law professional, human rights activist. He also has experience in journalism, hosting a radio program for over 10 years on HIV, reproductive health, and human rights. And he's going to be sharing his experience on how he got into non-for-profit. At the same time, he's also doing his PhD in a prestigious university abroad, and he has 2 masters. And he will be sharing with us on how he's able to join everything together, working with profit-making organizations, the law firm, and also his non-for-profit. So let's meet him now. Please tell us your name, tell us where you work, and we'll continue our gist.
First of all, I want to say a very big thank you to you. I am super honored to connect with you. I've known you for decades, and doing your show has been something you've always been passionate about.
Yeah.
So I'm really honored that you have me on this platform and that I'm engaging with you right here. My name is Okechukwu Effoduh. I am a legal practitioner. I'm very passionate about human rights, and my work as a researcher, as a lawyer, as an advocate has always centered around human rights. So that's me. I mean, my work spans from like legal advocacy to journalistic work to research. I find myself doing different things, but they center around the same idea: human rights and human development.
Okay. Wow, that's so much for one person to handle. You're doing so much. So I'd just like to know what inspired you to get into this journey, or is it because you're a lawyer, then it's just easy to go into human rights?
No, I've actually always been interested in human rights even before I became a lawyer.
Okay.
So I've always been interested in human rights even before I became a lawyer.
Okay.
I started out radio when I was about 17 years old. So I was pretty young, just I think about to get into university, and then I started to anchor a radio program called Flavor as the presenter at HIV, human development type of work. And so that radio program I anchored accorded me the opportunity to travel to all 36 states of Nigeria, meeting people, interviewing people at the grassroots, in local villages about their lifestyle, about what issues that they were experiencing and how they sort of related their lives to what's happening around the country in terms of their health, their education, and even just their human development. And so I anchored Flavor for about 8 years. And after that, I began to do a program called Talk Your Own. But at this point, I'd already started my education as a law student at University of Abuja. And that informed my thinking. It informed my passion for human rights, such that even after I finished law school and I started to practice, I found myself handling lots of human rights cases, issues around gender equality, equity for pay, employment issues, like employment discrimination issues. I just found myself really doing a lot of work around human rights. Not just because I love it, but because it's actually quite fulfilling for me. I find that being a human rights lawyer, I'm able to touch and affect people in the ways that giving them money would not do, or like human rights is like, human rights law is not really an area of law that pays you a lot of money, funny enough. It doesn't. but it gives you satisfaction. And there's a lot to do right here in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So that's how I began. I began with radio, and from radio, I started to practice law. And then in my practice of law, I decided, look, I would like to advance. I would like to become an expert in human rights. And so I did my first master's at the University of Oxford in international human rights law. And I did my second master's at Osgoode Hall Law School in Canada. And right now, I've just started my PhD, still on human rights, but specifically on how we can use digital technologies to advance the rights of minorities. So that's pretty much my life story in one paragraph.
Wow, that's really exciting. We're going to go on a very short break, and when we come back, we'll continue this gist. So if you're just joining us, this is the Mcbridge Consult Humans of Nigeria Angel Job Professional Conversations. We want to learn about the experience and how they started their journey into their career. And I've been speaking with Mr. Jakes Okechukwu Effoduh. He's an expert in human rights issues, both in Nigeria, especially, and also abroad. Stay tuned. Okay, welcome back from that short break, and my name remains Faith Afolabi. If you haven't subscribed on my YouTube channel, please do that right now. And we've been speaking with Okechukwu. He's a human rights expert, and he's been sharing his experience on how he started his whole journey from the radio, and then he's always had passion for human rights. Okay, so he's actually focused on what he wants to do. Now, okay, I just want to find out, you had your master's in Canada and also in Oxford, and then you're also pursuing your PhD. How are you able to fund it? Because it's a lot of money.
Yes, it is a lot of money, and I do not come from, I don't come from my family is not well to do to support me academically to study abroad. So both of my master's programs were funded through scholarships.
Wow.
My Oxford master's degree was fully funded. It was a Commonwealth scholarship. It covered everything from transport, feeding, accommodations, fees, and everything. And then my second master's as well was funded not only by the university in Canada, which is York University, but I also got funding from other external organizations as well. So I'm privileged to say that, without those scholarships, I would not have been able to, to study. But I also would say that part of the reasons why I was able to secure those scholarships is because of the work that I had done in Nigeria, right? The work I'd done in the field of human development and, and human rights sort of gave me that background and evidence that I'm actually passionate about my work. And that was how I was able to secure support, to do my master's program. Currently, my PhD program is also funded. So there is a scholarship in Canada called the Vanier Scholarship. It is actually the most prestigious graduate scholarship in Canada. And I'm really grateful to have that scholarship, because without it, I would not be able to do my PhD. So any development professional or human rights advocate or activist who is doing really good work and they feel that they want to advance their work with a master's degree or a PhD, scholarships are available, and it's important that they explore those options.
Wow, this is interesting. We'll probably get details on the site where people can go and apply for this scholarship. And if you're willing, if you have a chance, you can also put them through at your free time, at your convenient time, and maybe they will go through me, and then I'll reach out to you. That's really very interesting to know. So I'd like to know how you're able to also continue your work as the founder of your NGO, Law to Go, right? That's the name. Yes. And you said something about coming up with digital solutions and solving social human problems. So did you get this idea before COVID or after COVID? Because it's coincidental, I must say. Because the world is digital now.
Absolutely. We have no choice. The idea came in way before COVID-19.
Wow.
Like you said, COVID-19 actually demonstrates the need for Law to Go. So Law to Go is an idea that I came up with. I thought about the fact that a lot of Nigerians don't understand human rights because they don't know what human rights are. They might have heard the word, but just to demonstrate it in their lives, they can't. So a research was done that showed only 9% of Nigerians understood that they have rights that are enforced in our constitution. So a man can say, yes, I support human rights, but then in his own home, maybe he doesn't treat his female children the way he would treat his male children. I'm just saying, like, it's easy for people to mention human rights, but they can't relate it to their employment, right? And these things, we can cite 100 examples. The way an employer treats an employee, the way adults treat children, the way people should actually treat each other. There's a lot that we can extrapolate, like when it comes to human rights. So Law to Go really is a platform that seeks to make this understanding of human rights to be very common and very general, where people can, on their phone, not only read about what human rights are, but understand what the laws are on the go. Just as you're going, you can read it. But then I realized that English is also a privilege, because not every Nigerian can speak English, but they might be able to speak Igbo, or speak Yoruba, or speak Hausa, or speak Pidgin. And so what I did with Law to Go was I translated, with the help of other people, these human rights laws into local languages so that people can actually read them or read the language. And then I also moved it from a text format, because not every Nigerian can read, right? And the laws are written and they're in books. So I converted some of them to audio files where you can actually just listen on the phone and you can hear, oh, right to life means this. Oh, right to dignity of human person means this. Oh, freedom of expression, freedom of press, freedom of movement, right? People can listen to it.
So you have audio.
I found that audio, absolutely. And even people who are visually impaired can actually also listen. So the idea of Law to Go is just to ensure that we can break down the laws in ways that people can assimilate them in different formats for free. So right now, it's specifically on human rights law, because that's my area, that's my field. But I'm hoping that it would grow beyond what it is right now. I'm still developing the concept, I'm still building up on it. But the idea really is to make law easier for more people who are indigent, who are not very knowledgeable, to be able to access these laws and access legal services for free.
Okay, fantastic. So do you have an app for that right now? Or still in the process?
No, I don't have an app for that. I'm not a tech entrepreneur, engineer, or a software engineer. I'm just a legal practitioner. So I have a website for it where you can access information about it, but I hope that it will get to an app. Yeah. Hopefully when I'm done my PhD, I would spend time, get a couple of partners on board, and we can build an app for it.
That would be fantastic. And also ensure it's also reaching the grassroots, maybe like an audio and an SMS, something. I'm sure something perfect will come out from that. Okay, so I'd like you to advise someone listening out there, because I know people are watching right now that wants to position themselves to get scholarship for to pursue their career in law and maybe start up an NGO as well. So how do you advise those kind of people to position themselves? Because you have like 2-3 scholarship, that's commendable.
With scholarships, 3 things have to be done. Number 1 is research. You need to know who can offer scholarship, what do they fund, or what kinds of scholarship do they give, and what do they require. So you have to do your background work. You have to do your research. Start from Google. Just go on there, scholarships for this, put whatever it is you want, and then begin to explore what options are available. So do your research, ask questions. For example, people can consult you and say, oh, my bridge consult, tell me, who do you know that have the scholarships, or people that are within your networks. Yeah. So do your research is the first thing I would say. The second thing I would say is your application has to be, I'm looking for the word, it has to be refined. Like you have to work on your application. I think that's it. Because I remember when I first applied for the Vanier scholarship, which is the one I'm currently receiving, I didn't get it. The first time they said, oh, sorry, you didn't get it. I applied the second time and I didn't get it. I was like, okay, wow,
no.
But then I kept looking at other people who were receiving the scholarship. And I was like, they're not any different from me. I could apply for this. But I applied the third time. And I got it the third time. And so I'm saying this so that people realize that when you get rejected, it shouldn't stop you. But take the feedback and try again. So it is the same me that applied. It is the same application documents that I sent the first and second time, but I worked on the application. I read it again, I proofread it, I gave it to friends to review it and give me their feedback. I made sure all my T's were crossed and my I's were dotted. I made sure I didn't have any typographical errors, just doing the work and ensuring that you're giving the best pitch of who you are. Your CV has to be detailed, has to be articulate, has to be comprehensive. If you're submitting an application for something abroad, you can't just write, I served as a NYSC corper, Imo State. They don't know what NYSC is. They don't know where Imo State is. So mentioning that it's a National Youth Corps mandatory service, post-university program, even giving a one-liner about it, mentioning Imo State, Nigeria, just to be giving enough detail about your work and being able to tell that story strongly gives you a better way, to ace your scholarship. And I think the final point would be that know exactly what you want. Most people try to target where funding is. Like they're looking at, where is their money? Let me apply there. But that's a wrong approach. Focus on exactly what you want. This is what I want. This is what I'm passionate about. This is what I want to achieve. And then find where funding can come from. Because funding can come from anywhere. Like my scholarship is not tied to just one area. It's not because I'm doing human rights. That's why I'm funded. They fund people doing tech, media, communications, whatever. But they don't just fund anybody because they want to fund. They fund people who really need the funding and have demonstrated impact in their area. So don't pursue the money, pursue what you want. And then the money would come around that particular interest.
Wow. That's been so wonderful. You've just said so many things. You've actually answered the next question I was going to ask, which is, what is the advice you give to someone out there? But I'll leave that because you've said a lot, and I'm sure someone out there has said what they need to do to get the next scholarship to fund their interest and also help them to do great things, right? So just to wrap up today, I would like to know, has there been any low moment with you? And if there has been, how were you able to handle that? Because I know pursuing this stage, you had one rejection. I've had several rejections, my brother. Several. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to do this anymore. So what kept you going?
I think when you have limited options, you just have to keep going. When I applied the first time, I didn't get it. I applied the second time, I didn't get it. I was like, you know what? Let me just... Of which, those are not the only ones I applied to. I applied to about 6 or 7, and all of them rejected me.
7 rejections. You should write the book on that.
I should. The current scholarship I'm receiving is $50,000 a year, which is a lot. And I applied for small ones like $3,000 ones, and they rejected me. I was like, I got 3. I was like, if a $3,000 scholarship is rejecting me, who's giving me the motivation to apply for 50,000? Maybe I'm not worth it. Maybe my eye is too big. Maybe I should, I was having self-doubt. I was depressed a few times. I was worried. I was like, so what's gonna happen? I really want to do this PhD and I need the money for it, right? So it's difficult, but you have to push. You have to be resilient. I came up with this mantra that last, what would they say? No, Abby.
No,
so apply again. I didn't feel embarrassed to apply again. I wasn't feeling embarrassed. I was like, I'll apply again. Last, they'll tell me what? No problem. I'll apply again. So that's exactly what I did. But I didn't just apply again because I'm just like wanting to apply. I applied again I spoke to people who had received scholarships. How did you write your proposal? Can I see your CV? Do you have time to look at my application? I sat over it again. Sometimes I give myself breaks. Like I don't just reapply after a rejection. A rejection is painful. I look at the rejection, I close my email, I'm like, damn, I really wish I got that. I give myself a day or 2, and then I go back. I read the email again. I read the application I sent, and then I go back again and, work on it. One thing I always say is sometimes being rejected has nothing to do with you. Sometimes they are just not funding your area of research. Maybe they're interested in climate change and you're working in technology, but it's climate change they're interested in, right? Sometimes maybe it's because you're an international student and they have only 1 or 2 spaces for internationals. And so the competition is really tough and tight. Maybe it's something that has nothing to do with you. Maybe it's your reference, maybe your referee, somebody who was meant to recommend you, that didn't really write a strong recommendation, or that wrote a recommendation thinking just by writing you would get in. They didn't write anything persuasive that will motivate the admissions committee to select you. Sometimes it might just be a gender. Maybe they've selected so many men last year and they're like, oh, they want to prioritize selecting women this year. And unfortunately, it just doesn't fit into you right now. So there will always be a way as long as you keep trying. If you don't submit, you will not be considered. So those are some of the things I had to take for myself. Most times people don't see the rejections. People don't know how many rejections we get. They only know when we'll be selected. But I've been very open to people say, hey, I've been rejected up to 7 times. It didn't, so 7 rejections, 3 acceptances. Yeah. And that's it.
Makes it 10. Wow. It's been amazing time with you. Okay, it's really been amazing. I wish we could just go on and on and on. But let me just ask, finally, how are you able to get funding for your NGO? Just briefly, then we'll call it a day.
So, for my NGO, I haven't really gotten funding for that.
Okay, so it's been self-funded.
It's been self-funded, but when I started the idea, I had the fellowship that I attended at the Harvard Law School. It was the Library Innovation Lab, and to be a part of the fellowship, we had stipends. So instead of taking my stipend for myself, I actually used my stipend to start off Law to Go. But right now it's not funded. That's why I'm saying, that's why it's a bit slow and I'm not doing so much. That's why I don't have the tech guys working with me yet, because these people require money. I've noticed that telling somebody a great idea that would change the world is one thing, but
funding the idea,
funding the idea is another one.
Almost ₦1 million. Build an app.
Absolutely. Yeah. So no matter how fantastic the idea is, people's time, energy, resources have to be put into it, and so I have to wait till the money comes for that one. But I'm really passionate about it, and I'm sure that there'll be enough funding that will come through for me to execute that project.
Okay. Thank you so much, okay? It's been such an exciting time with you. It's been very informative. It's been entertaining. It's been fulfilling and inspiring. I am myself, I'm inspired. So I'm going to go back to those applications that I've put out there and I'm going to send it back again, but maybe do more work on it. So if you're just joining, this is where we call it a close, and you've been watching me, Faith Afolabi, and a law expert on human rights, and he's been sharing his journey on how it started. Sorry, we don't have enough time to take any questions, right? But we can share information that you can go out and look out for those things you want to. Just follow us on our page, subscribe on our YouTube channel, follow us on all our social media handles, and we'll keep you posted. So from us to you is the bye. Thank you for staying. Okay, we want to say thank you very much for accepting this invite. And we're happy for all your achievements and we wish you more successes. All right, bye.